Yeah.
Hello everybody, I am Cyrus Hojati. I am making this video regarding an activist named Richard Spencer. And I just recently had an amazing telephone conversation with him about what's happening with a lot of the issues. By the way, right now here in Las Vegas, it's actually 8:08 at night. Less than 4 hours from now, it's going to be 2018. So hopefully it's going to be a very promising and exciting year. Now, the reason I spoke to his organization, the National Policy Institute, is that I wanted to share some of the issues regarding race and immigration that's happening, especially here in Las Vegas. And those of you who don't know who Richard Spencer is, he is a main figure of the alt-right movement. And a lot of the issues that the alt-right brings out, I highly sympathize and agree with. You know, we do have an immigration policy that, for the most part, it's not benefiting the people in the United States and all over the Western world. And, of course, these immigration issues are bringing us demographic problems. And in many cases in Europe, Oceania, and in North America, the white percentage of population has been falling. Now, this is what really the alt-right is really known about. This is what's really inside their souls, and this is what they're really frustrated. They're concerned about their future. And before I continue with this video, those of you out there who are going to see me as some sort of white supremacist or some kind of racist, bigoted, go ahead. You can dump all of the criticism that you want at me. But the fact is that, let me tell you something. What me and Richard Spencer can agree on is that these demographic changes, where the white percentage of population is falling, is going to deliver a lot of consequences. And this is, depending on how you look at it, it's a form of ethnic cleansing. And I think that regardless of any race you are, all right, any ethnic background you are, because I'm from Iranian descent, I was born in America, that we can agree that there's something fishy going on with these demographics. The white percentage of population is declining, and we're concerned about our future. We're concerned about how the society is going to factor in. And again, I'm not trying to say that, okay, white people are better, they're superior, you know, I like them better than other people. I mean, there's a lot of things about white people that I don't like, that they generally have in their lives that are dominant. Now, I'm Iranian, there's a lot of things I laugh about their culture, you know, their culture where they have these large yard homes with their pickup trucks and their motorcycles, and they throw beer cans out, and their saloons and their shotguns, and, you know, they're drinking and all that. And that can seem kind of laughable at me. And in some cases, that's not the kind of culture that I was really raised in, all right? But on the other hand, if you are talking about a system that's cleansing their populations and doing that to kind of change the society to benefit some powerful interests, people who want certain changes for their own self-interest, then that is a problem. This is a form of abuse, all right? And the fact is, the problem is that our society has been believing, has been somehow had this mindset that if you reduce the white percentage of population, if you keep bashing white people, people from European descent, that somehow, believe it or not, that you are making our society better. Diversity is great. Diversity is our strength. That somehow that you are enriching our society, that you are lifting minorities. And in fact, we've done decades of all this immigration. We've done decades of all this affirmative action, and it really hasn't helped minorities. And in fact, in some cases, it's not only dragged down white people, but it's actually dragged down minorities as well. And they do the same son of a gun among men too. They give extra privileges, extra support for women. And all of our problems in our society, it's that straight European descent, Protestant male that's responsible for all the problems. And believe me, I don't get any extra privileges too. All right? But the fact is that any way that you can debate all you want, the races are overall different. Races have different levels of abilities, blood testosterone, IQ levels. Explain why sub-Saharan Africa overall has a lower IQ level than the peoples of Northern Europe and how their civilizations are different. That is a fact. That's why you see differences in crime levels, in income levels. And so what we're seeing is changes in racial demographics so that this is done so that, believe it or not, we can get the result that we need. And these changes in racial demographics, I think the best example is look at California. Look at the changes in their society, in their landscape, in their culture, in their voting habits. Now we get all these horrible politicians that raise our taxes that's making the state look like a banana republic. You see, this is what happens. And these politicians, they cater to the minority vote and they use it to create corruption. And this is what they want. They want these demographic changes so that we get these nasty results that we have today. And look at here in Las Vegas. Do you think Harry Reid would have been elected all these times if it weren't for this disastrous 1965 immigration law that pumped in all these third world immigrants with the Culinary Workers Union to pump up these politicians? And now we have to deal with people like Cortez Masto, Ruben Kiyuhin, people from both parties, believe it or not. So this is one of the realities that you have to understand. When you see these demographic changes, you get differences of voting, and that's one of the reasons that they want it. But it's not just that. Culture changes. You know, one important thing about here in Clark County is that we have a good and interesting cowboy culture. We have a Western culture. And when those numbers change, the people begin to change. Habits, just your surroundings begin to change. And a lot of people don't like that. They want to preserve the cultures. And race is an important factor. If I go to a country saloon bar and I see the bartenders that have been replaced by Asians and Hispanics, it's not going to be the same tradition anymore. I don't even want the bartenders to be replaced with Iranian because of the fact that I want to preserve the cultures. And you know, there's a lot of other things that you have to see in Las Vegas. We've seen a lot of jobs, particularly cleaning, and a lot of other things got replaced by Hispanics. We've seen, jobs, believe it or not, this is quite of a shocker, a lot of front desk jobs, a lot of waitress jobs, a lot of casino dealing jobs have been replaced by Asians. It's not just California, but even here, especially in the southwest part of the Las Vegas Valley, it's like we've been invaded by Asians. And our trade policy, making those Asian countries rich, they come in and buying up our real estate. And this is one of the things, we don't seem to criticize Asian immigration a lot. We don't seem to criticize their strict and picky personalities. And I don't appreciate that. Now, I'm not trying to bash Asians generally, but I have a problem when these general negative habits of theirs, they're coming in, they're dominating. And I'm not saying that we should kick people out in the masses just to change back our racial demographics. I'm not saying that they're worse than white people. What I'm trying to tell you is that these demographic changes that we are seeing, they're heading us to a brick wall. They're heading us to a black hole. And a lot of good benefits are being wiped out. All right? You have to start considering this. I think at this point, we have to just stop the demographic changes. Right now, look at Clark County. It used to be 70% non-Hispanic white in 1990. Now it's down to like 45%. What is it going to be? 25%? It's going to start looking like Los Angeles. And a lot of the problems in LA has to do with its demographic changes. Folks, this is the reason why, at least one of the reasons why, during the days, the Rat Pack, the mob era, things were so much better. It wasn't just because people like James Murn of MGM Resorts were gouging prices. It's because the scene, the lack of multiculturalism, lack of diversity, the social life, the customer service, all these things were different at that time. People have to start waking up. People spoke better English. And I'm telling you, as an Iranian American, I'm awake, a child of 2 immigrants. Look at what's going on. I mean, I don't want Las Vegas to be invaded by Tehrani people, although it would be kind of nice if we built some Middle Eastern architecture here, considering the climate is kind of similar. But I don't want to see a complete invasion. We have to have preservation. I mean, just look at a lot of other different things. Just think about if the 1965 immigration law was not passed in America, Clark County would have looked so much different. People have to start realizing these things. Just look at urban planning, for an example. If you guys out there want to protect and preserve the environment, if you guys out there are concerned about water issues, Lake Mead, traffic and sprawl, well, one of the things we can do is we can stop massive immigration. That law has pumped in so many people into the Las Vegas Valley, as well as high housing costs from California and the Rust Belt economy. It's causing overcrowding. It's causing problems. So one thing we can do is just stop this foreign invasion that we're getting. So, and then you also have to look at patterns of where people move. What do you think makes places like Centennial Hill, Summerlin, and especially Henderson so distinct? Is it just because they're dressed up and fancy? Not just that. They are immune from the foreign massive immigration and the diversity that's taken place. These are generally white areas and people move out. They spread out. That causes smog, longer commutes because they want to escape. They don't want to live in a multicultural environment. And that's not racist. They want to be with their own people. And I got to speak these issues out. I got to go to local events and get what people are feeling inside and let them out. All right? And I welcome people like Richard Spencer and Jared Taylor to get out here, talk to some people, because we don't have to do things just nationally and globally. We have to do things locally. And we have to be there. And not say that white people are better, but we don't want this ethnic cleansing. We don't want these changes in demographics. Now, a little bit of foreign immigrants from all over the world sounds reasonable. But too much has its limits. And we don't want to end up looking like California. Because there's a lot of problems and there's a lot of conflicts. So, by the way, I also want to get to this point that it's not just immigration. Because I've mentioned this in my previous videos. A better idea, perhaps, a counter idea, is that white people have to have more kids. But the problem is that the economy is set up where it's difficult to set up families, and the dating scene, the mindset is the problem. Women are not women anymore. Women are focused too much on clubbing and going to work and going to school. Well, that has problems. And the dating scene is not good enough. And men are going to have to change. They're going to have to get off the porn, video games, and football, and they're going to have to be real men. Women out there, young ones in Clark County, start having 5, 6, 7 children. You're going to have to protect and preserve your race. All right? Look at the Clark County School District. If you guys are not happy, then you guys can counter the effects. Now, for me personally, I'm Iranian. If I marry and have kids with a white woman, it's not going to make much of a difference. On the other hand, I'm probably better off protecting and preserving the Iranian heritage. Because I can tell you, in Iran, there's now less than 2 kids being born to every woman in that country. And there could be some ethnic cleansing there. So, and if there's ethnic cleansing in Iran, oh gosh, 5,000 years of history. Very, very shocking. All right. Thank you so much, Richard Spencer. Spread my video, get the word out there, and hopefully we'll have a good 2018.